Hello. Welcome. We're so excited to have you here for a new thing we've added this year at SOCAP15, and that is, this afternoon we're having a great focus on entrepreneurship, both new entrepreneurs who are just launching, and then a panel with some folks who've been around this space for a long time. I think somebody's live streaming us in the room because I hear myself coming back at me. So we're going to start in just a couple of seconds, and I'm going to bring to the stage someone from the Impact Hub in New York City. SOCAP is a part of a family of businesses called Mission Hub, and Mission Hub has in its family SOCAP and 5 Impact Hubs in San Francisco, Berkeley, Philadelphia, New York City, and Washington, D.C. And Sam Utney, who's going to be coming out and leading us through the first half of this program this afternoon and talking about a new venture they have at the Impact Hub in New York City, is the managing director of the Impact Hub there. So I would like for you to welcome to the stage Sam Utney.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to SOCAP15. Thank you guys so much for being here. Do you guys like that little subtle hint towards social media? Feel free to use that. My name is Sam Utney. Let me see, is it running? Does it say that? At Sam Utney? Okay, my name is at Sam Utney. I am the #managing director of at Impact Hub NYC. It's a pleasure to have you here. Impact Hub NYC is a sister organization of SOCAP. If you guys don't know about that relationship, ask me, ask somebody here. We're a beautiful family, I promise. We'll tell you all about it. I'm here to be part of the presenting team for tonight's session on celebrating entrepreneurs, but I'm also here to present and there's celebrating entrepreneurs. I'm also here to present an initiative that we're launching at Impact Hub NYC at the end of October called Impact Bazaar. #excited. This room here is remarkable. You guys are a perfect ecosystem. In this room, we have entrepreneurs, for-profits, non-profits, we have investors and funders, we have corporations, we have government representatives, we have mentors and teachers. This is a perfect innovation ecosystem. And in this room, we have 1 million offers and 1 million needs. Raise your hand if you came here with a specific offer that you have. Go ahead, don't be shy. It works better if everybody raises their hand. All right, raise your hand if you came with a very specific need. And you guys could be the same people. This room has so much to offer and so many needs. It's about bridging that gap. It's about building a bridge between the impact investors and social entrepreneurs here in this space. That person sitting 2 seats over to your left, that might be your next investor. The person sitting to your right, that might be the best investment you've ever made in your life. The person in front of you, they might be your future business partner, and the person behind you, maybe they're tomorrow's lover. I don't know. But you guys are here, and this is exciting, so don't waste this weekend. You're among a lucky group that gets to be a part of the resources and the ideas that SOCAP15 has to offer. And it's this kind of marketplace that we're trying to create and build and launch in New York starting October 21st. We're turning 5,000 square feet, a full floor at Impact Hub NYC, into the Impact Bazaar. It's a live marketplace for the impact innovation ecosystem. It's basically SOCAP year-round. It's open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. It will be a place where people can come, 9 to 6, sorry. It's a place where people can come, dust off that idea they had at the back of their closet, come in, be met with the tools and resources and guidance that it takes to push an idea to the next level and build a better business. And it's fully accessible to the public. We'll be providing physical space and daily programming, including mentorship, office hours, classes, workshops, a media center, a maker space, and all of the resources that it takes to test ideas and make businesses. We'll also be providing morning yoga and daily lunch with inspiring talks and inspirational ideas and best practices. But beyond that, we'll be providing something that's provided here at SOCAP15, and that is the opportunity for serendipity. So take advantage, meet the people around you, engage. And as of a deal signed this morning, it's extremely exciting for me to announce that Impact Bazaar will be presented by our friends at Squarespace. And they'll be providing support along with an impressive and growing list of almost 40 partners all in one space. We'll be connecting people and offerings through physical space, but we'll also be inviting them to engage through social media. So I'd like to invite you guys to do the same here. If you have a need, go ahead and use MyBZRNeed. If you have an offering, go ahead and use #MyBZROffer. Then scroll the other one and see what happens. See if you can build that match. Let's really test this ecosystem here. Here's an example. I have an offer. If you guys sign up at impactbazaar.com before we launch on October 21st, you'll have free access through the end of the year. Otherwise, it's $10 to the public. If you have I have a need. If you'd like to join our list of sponsors, feel free to join. If you want to be a mentor or have some other resource to offer, come and talk to me. I would love to talk to you. But please post your needs, post your offers, read each other's, interact with each other. Let's truly celebrate entrepreneurs by making this the ecosystem we know it can be. Push your boundaries, meet each other, celebrate and support the creative spirit. And if you'd like to come and talk about the new model for impact innovation in New York City and this ecosystem that we're building together, come and talk to me, come and talk to Megan McFadden right here and Elizabeth Maxwell. You guys can raise your hands. They're our Impact Bazaar New York family, and we would love to talk to you. With that, it's really exciting for me to transition and introduce someone that is no stranger to the creation of entrepreneurial ecosystems, and a real supporter of the marketplace here at SOCAP15. Tae Woo is a senior vice president of corporate affairs at Cisco. Ms. Yu directs public and private partnerships that utilize Cisco's business, technical, and financial assets to make a positive impact for people and communities around the world. Through a variety of Cisco programs, they're supporting and educating, supporting the education and networks that entrepreneurs need to thrive. She's going to tell you about an exciting partnership between Cisco and UBI Global. And please join me in welcoming Tae Yu. Thank you so much. Yes.
Particularly am excited about today because this is really, I think, the first step toward building an infrastructure and a framework that enables anyone to participate and be part of, social innovation and entrepreneurship globally. One of the things that we've done at Cisco is we've actually been focused in this space in a variety of ways, and we called it social innovation. We called it social entrepreneurship. We called it impact investing. We called it incubating of new ideas and solving problems. So this dates back to the late 90s when this space started to really take root. Today, something really special has happened, and that is that rather than anecdotal information, because we've seen individual successes, but rather than taking anecdotal data, we have real data that's repeatable. When we talk about being a social innovator or investing in, social capital, the bottom line is this: we're all problem solvers. So whether you're a corporation or a government or an NGO, a social innovator, an entrepreneur, it's really about solving problems, right? Whether you partner with the government around civic issues, an NGO to deal with local community challenges, businesses who work with healthcare and education sector. We're all just global problem solvers. And so what we are doing now is that we partnered with UBI, which is an amazing organization, UBI Global, and what they do is they actually put together benchmarking and research. And why is this so important to us right now? It's because we're on the verge of a major wave and a huge opportunity. So if you think about the transition from the industrial economy to the knowledge economy, which happened about late 80s, early 90s, and basically was the burgeoning of the internet in a massive way, there were a lot of different types of jobs and opportunities that came about. You didn't have to live in a place that had natural resources. You didn't have to leave home to get a job. You could actually leverage what the internet had to offer and create jobs, attain jobs, solve problems. We're on the verge of another major wave, which is digitization. So what this means is that with Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, the ubiquitous use of technology, we can actually solve lots of problems, create jobs, and participate in the economy. And this is why it's so important for us to really look at key performance indicators. Is there a framework that we can measure and see what's successful and what's not? And then be able to take this and make it available to everyone so that we give everybody a great chance to be successful. So what we did was we partnered with UBI to put together this benchmark. There's 40 KPIs, key performance indicators that were measured. There's two people, one who's sitting on the floor, Amanda Cumberland, if you could stand up. She and Daruv Bartley, I don't know if he's in the audience, they will be holding a session on Thursday at 2:45 to go into this in detail. But we're really excited about what we've learned here, and the goal is how do we take this, package it, turn it into a framework and make it available to everyone to give them the best chance of success. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Ali Amin from UBI.
Hi, everyone. Oh, let's see. Do you hear me? Great. So thank you for having me here. Hey, guys. My name is Ali. I'm from UBI Global, a research consulting firm in the heart of Scandinavia, all the way from Stockholm, Sweden. UBI's primary focus is to help university business incubators to become more efficient and competitive through data-driven insights and sharing of best practices. This endeavor is accomplished throughout an annual benchmark that we conduct of university business incubators globally, where more than 500 programs have participated in over 70 countries. This year, as you know, in partnership with Cisco, we've conducted the most comprehensive benchmark of business incubators focusing on social innovation and social entrepreneurship. The jurisdiction is in the US. The project, as Tay mentioned, is aimed to improve the visibility of the landscape, but also to assist these incubators to become more competitive. According to the research, there's around 150 incubators in the US focusing on social entrepreneurship. And of those 150, we managed to benchmark 24 of them. And they come from 16 states, and everybody is represented in that report. The companies at these incubators are represented across several sectors, such as economic empowerment, critical human needs, environment, and education too. So what about the results then? What have we found? Well, I'm glad to announce that today it's available for you guys to download at csr.cisco.com/measureimpact for you to read and get some of the data. But to give you a sneak peek, at least today, I would like to share the following. So in the study, we make a distinction between a top-performing incubator versus an average-performing one. And this is quite important because we would like to highlight what the top-performing are doing and how we can share those best practices. So the study clearly shows a top-performing incubator actually, through their client startups, help generate more jobs, retain local talent, have higher revenue in terms of the companies, and they also provide long-term benefits to the local community. The study also shows that these 24 incubators past the 5 years have generated throughout their client companies more than 15,000 jobs, and that number is quite important to share. So to find out more, we would like to invite you guys to the workshop on Thursday, where we're going to discuss this. The workshop is in meeting room number 4, which is behind here, between 2:45 and 4:45. Then later on, I would also like to invite you to that place, just straight behind you, to the actual festivities, my favorite part, where we're going to give recognition to 6 high-impact incubation programs that done a tremendously good job. So we'll have beer, we'll have wine, and some hors d'oeuvres, and we'd love to meet you out there to discuss how we can help measure and visualize the impact in this industry. So don't forget to come by the exhibition booth that we have here at UBI in the main area to get your ticket to that one. With that said, I would like to thank Cisco and SOCAP for being here today, and I hope to catch you all later. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Cisco. Thank you, UBI. Thank you, Cisco, and thank you, UBI, for your support of SOCAP. This is our second year partnering with the Gratitude Awards to highlight outstanding entrepreneurs
In the fields of
community development, education, environmental sustainability. The entrepreneurs that you'll hear from tonight are the Gratitude Awards finalists, and your votes will determine one of the 4 Gratitude Awards winners. You can vote all week, and the final winners will be announced at the Friday closing. With that, I'm going to bring up Randy Haken and Paul Miller from the Gratitude Awards, who will introduce the finalists.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, hi everyone. We are so pleased to be back for another year teaming up with SOCAP for the Gratitude Awards. And we're getting all of our awardees out here on stage now. Okay. The Gratitude Network is very pleased to be a part of this every year. The Gratitude Network basically seeks out and mentors top impact entrepreneurs around the world. And in particular, we look for entrepreneurs that have already launched their business and are in the process of scaling. So what you're going to see today is 9 incredible organizations that were chosen from a large number this year who will present to you. A little bit about our purpose. The Gratitude Network basically is there to accelerate the company's chances of success. We do this in a number of ways. One is building the capacity of the organization. That means working with the team to strengthen the team on a variety of areas, particularly the areas that they need for scale. That could be marketing, could be product development, could be team leadership development. We also connect the team to a variety of specialists around the world who can help with these areas of scaling. And then we try to bake in some of the best practices that the team at the Gratitude Network has learned over the last 30 years in the Silicon Valley. And what we're hoping is that the 9 folks that you'll see today will go on to become, in essence, global gratitude ambassadors themselves and kind of pay it forward, helping other people as they come up along the ranks with their startups. We do 2 things, essentially. This is our 3rd year working on the awards. The last 2 years have been in conjunction with SOCAP, and I wanted to thank the SOCAP organization for having us again. The 3 areas that you're going to hear about are education, community development, and sustainability. And then what happens is we've got our 9 finalists who will each work closely with our team over the next year in our deep mentorship program. We'll make available to them some 75 plus different people, depending on the needs, to work with them. And then the 4 awardees that will come out of the Gratitude Award process that you'll be part of we'll have a chance to meet with a super mentor team. Now, the super mentors this year are 5 individuals. Hopefully you know some of these folks. They range from the CEO of IDEO to a well-known venture capitalist, one of the great super angels in the world, an incredibly well-connected person at LinkedIn who heads up their in-house program for social impact. So those mentors will be working with the 4 winners that come out of this process. At this point, I wanted to bring up, last year we had 4 winners. I want to bring up one of our winners from last year, Heather Franzisi with Good World Solutions, and have her tell you a little bit about how the last year has gone for her.
Thanks, Randy. Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to be on stage today because last year, as Randy said, we won the Gratitude Network Awards in the category of community development. And I wanted to just share a couple quick updates and reflections on how the last year has gone for us. So last year I talked about the factory collapse in Bangladesh and our reason for being, which is to surface the voices of workers around the world who are invisible to us, the workers that sew our clothes, that assemble our phones, without whom we would not be able to function day to day, and who we depend on, but yet who are very invisible to us, and who many of whom are suffering in very exploitive conditions. So since the last awards, we actually set up, used our technology to set up a helpline in Bangladesh to connect factory workers there to decision makers so that in the event of an emergency or if their safety was compromised, they had a direct line to decision makers to be able to report those issues. And actually, in April of this year, the earthquake happened in Nepal, and we actually had factory workers in Bangladesh feel that, felt the earthquake from Nepal to Bangladesh, and called our helpline and reported cracks in the walls. And we actually were able to deliver that information to decision makers and send structural engineers to investigate the soundness of those buildings to be sure that workers actually were going to work in a safe environment. So that's just one example of how we've leveraged technology to connect workers to decision makers. More recently, we've been doing a lot of work in China, and we've seen in the headlines recently stock market volatility in China and how connected our economy and the world economy is to the Chinese economy. And when you look at the Chinese economy, 31% of the Chinese economy, of the Chinese GDP, is manufacturing. So that's millions of workers, many of them making products for us. And so when we think about the importance of our thriving economy, some of it is very connected to workers in China. And so it's important for us as consumers here to think about how to protect workers in China. And so that's exactly what we're doing. We're using simple mobile technology to make those workers visible and establish a connection to surface their needs and voices and translate that into actionable information for companies buying those products. So since the last awards last year, we've doubled our impact and our reach to 300,000 workers now in 16 countries. I mentioned Bangladesh and China. We also just launched in Vietnam and Cambodia. In fact, I'm headed to Vietnam tonight. We're thrilled to have support from the Gratitude Network. We also have support from Cisco. Tay is here from Cisco. And I want to especially thank our Gratitude Network mentors, Matt Flannery and Steve McCoy-Thompson, who, as Randy described, are giving business mentorship and advice that is critical at, very important growth junctures for our small organization. So thanks to you all for being here, and thanks to Randy and his team at the Gratitude Network.
Hello, I'm Paul Miller with the Gratitude Network, and I'm really excited and honored to be introducing the 9 finalists for the Gratitude Awards. Just one few words about the process. We started out with 550 applications. We worked together with the SOCAP group, and with the team brought it down to 125 entrepreneurs who were offered scholarships to this event. We then had another judging round, brought it down to 33 semifinalists, another judging round, and brought it down to these 9 finalists. And again, we want you to pay attention because we're asking you to vote for the People's Choice at the end of this event. So without further ado, let me introduce in the category of Community Development, Shantanu from CARE NX.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Shantanu Pathak from CARE NX Innovations. Let me start with the story of health worker, Mandatai. So she started with us 1 year back, having a portable kit, which you can see, and a smartphone, having set of devices to provide at-door healthcare access. So what she says in her experience, that with this kit, she has found that more number of people coming to her for medical tests, and very importantly, due to the social recognition, her husband bought a bike to drop her to different villages. Looking at this important part of the healthcare process, CareNext, with its vision of develop and commercialize technologies to provide better healthcare delivery, we have developed a mobile healthcare unit which have set of mobile applications and integrated devices, which you can see for pregnancy care, child care, hemoglobin, integrated mobile stethoscope, lab care, which is assay rated for rapid test, and digital identity for every patient that we have. In that, healthcare organizations who are working with us basically empowered with reduce in the capital and the operational cost, better connectivity with the patients, and very importantly, empowering the health workers with smart tools. By that, they will be able to provide a better healthcare delivery at home. So, with very first product, Care Mother, which is a mobile pregnancy care solution, and the need, I will state in one statement that every 10 minutes, a pregnant woman dies due to a preventable complication. And why not we provide at-door healthcare access? By that, we have a mobile app and portable kit to provide healthcare solution. Our first experience in 1 year, we have reached more than 20 health workers, 60 plus villages. We have served more than 1,000 mothers and 5,000 plus tests at doorstep. And through this mission, we dream to reach 3 million pregnancies in the next 5 years. That's by 2020. Looking at the opportunity that we have in pregnancy or general primary care, there's a huge gap between the service and the doctor. So importantly, health workers at ground becomes the first point of contact, and why not to empower them? India, Brazil, Kenya are the key countries that we see are the opportunities for us and reach out to the people. With the customer segments, as I said, with the target that we have, hospitals and government in the first year are to be targeted customer segments, and importantly, through franchisee model, we try to develop a network where health workers will have a mobile health unit developed by us and reach out to the people directly. Right. So in next 3 years, in our target, we want to reach to 3 lakhs pregnancies, 15 lakhs patients, and more than 7,500 villages. We'll be creating at least 1,500 jobs for health workers by our mobile health unit. So we have a strong team to execute that. Technology side, we have a good team. On healthcare side, we have Dr. Ameya and product design, Harshini. So with the team, we are very confident to execute and reach the number. Based upon our first year experience, we are confident that we will reach. But for all, we need a support from you. So team up with us, join us, and hopefully with gratitude, we'll be able to achieve that. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Miranda from City Taps.
Last month, in the capital city of Niger, I met Anna, a mother of 5. She was getting her water cut off by the water utility. she was 6 months behind on her bills. The utility didn't have much choice. So, sorry, can I start again? Sorry. Last month in the capital city of Niger, I met Anna, a mother of 5. She lives with her family and was getting her water cut off by the utility. The utility had little choice because she was 6 months behind on her bills. Her husband is a taxi driver, they have an irregular income, and therefore paying monthly bills on time is difficult. But about half the utility's customers are delinquent like her, but they're the lucky ones. 40% of the city have never had a household connection before because the upfront cost is 3 months of their income. So the disconnected and the unconnected end up paying a triple poverty tax on water in health, time, and money. So every day, people get their water from these containers. They're dirty, it takes an hour to fetch, and costs 15 times the utility's price. This situation is not unique to Niger. People are risking their lives every day as utilities struggle to serve them in city after city. Now, we at City Taps are changing this. We're using smart technology to help people prepay for their water at any time with any phone. With our smart meter, Anna can make micropayments for her water and check her usage with her phone at any time. And what's more, the phone provides an opportunity for her to link to the utility system and the mobile money system. Now, with this phone, Anna can now finally get water at a decent price, and she can also make. I'm sorry. With this phone, she can make micropayments for water at any time, at any price. And for the utility, they also save 20% of their costs. With the savings and costs, they can actually reinvest back into their system. What's interesting is that we've developed this meter specifically for the developing world. It's simple to operate, robust in tough conditions, and we alone offer our meter to utilities as a service. We simply share in their cost savings, which means that there is no increase to household costs. Our team has decades of experience across technology, utilities, and microfinance, and we alone offer and we're excited that industry leaders are taking notice. We're doing our first pilot in Niger with Veolia, the world's largest water company. We've received support from GSMA, the Global Mobile Association. And finally, we're also in discussions with one of the leading research groups to measure our impact. Now, if you believe mothers like Anna deserve a better life, then join us and vote for us so that we can scale up our operations with the help of the Gratitude Network. And let's bring running water to every urban home forever. Thank you.
Now we have Christine from Vendetti.
So hi everyone, my name is Christine and I'm introducing Vendetti, the world's street markets in your pocket. Now by a show of hands, how many of you in the room have been to an international destination before? Raise your hands. A lot of you, right? And when you travel, of course, many of you bring back photos and souvenirs to represent your experience abroad, but of course you bring back generic items from places like this, where you know the coolest products of cultural value and purpose are actually located in places like this. For many, it might be overwhelming to navigate these places, and our solution makes it easier to navigate and also generates an impact in the process. To visualize this impact, I have to take you back to 2010 to my home country of Haiti. Now, the focus here is not so much the devastation that ravaged Haiti, but the women whose resilience selling on top of the rubble street vending. Because for 2 billion people around the world, street vending is not an alternative, it's a dire necessity. I know this because I myself grew up poor and used to street vend alongside my mom and my grandmother in the streets of Haiti. And the problem for many vendors is that they cannot connect directly with global consumers like you, despite the fact that 1 billion people traveled the world last year, many to emerging markets for the first time. So what would happen if we transformed this reality for these people around the world? You would have Vendetti. the first mobile network connecting global travelers to street vendors in real time. And this is how it works. This is not a regular e-commerce marketplace. This is a live feed network where travelers can upload photos of vendors that they purchase from, tag the vendor's phone number, so that way anyone can connect directly with the street vendor, dismissing the need for middlemen in many of these markets worldwide. This is not a concept. We have beta launched this marketplace in places like Haiti and Brazil. I have traveled to over 30 countries in the past 6 years talking to street vendors globally before we beta launched this product in these marketplaces. And of course, we received global recognitions and partnerships with IBM and the Clinton Global Initiative, but that's within the past year. We have a long way to go, and that's where all of you come in to help us take it to the next step. We're asking $500,000 to be able to scale in our home turf, which is the Caribbean market, a market that our team knows very well because that's where we were raised, and it has the highest dependency on tourism in many of these markets. As you could tell, we did a lot with just $40K in prizes and personal and equity investments, so we could do a lot with $500,000. In closing, I'd like to say, your vote could really transform a lot for us in the next couple of years as we scale to other markets beyond the Caribbean market. So vote for Vendetti, the world street market, in your pocket, and transform how you connect with products around the world and make an impact. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Now we go to the field of education. We have Isabel from Library for All.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really honored to be able to present our work at the nonprofit organization Library for All with you. My team are all firm believers that reading is a basic human right. Reading is what enables us to learn. It's what enables us to dream. And for many, it's a direct pathway to enable individuals to lift themselves out of poverty. Yet today, 250 million children worldwide are not learning the basics of reading and writing, despite 4 years of being in school. One of the major barriers is a simple lack of access to books. On a recent trip I took to Ethiopia, I came upon this site, one of the only bookshelves in the community full of books that are ancient texts, really, in languages that nobody in the community could even read. Yet they were so precious to the community that they were kept protected by a guard that's armed. The knowledge gap is growing each and every day, but this doesn't have to be the case. Today, mobile phone networks are spreading across the developing world, and the cost of devices is falling dramatically. In this landscape, we see an opportunity. At Library for All, we want to use technology to unlock knowledge across the developing world. We've built a digital library platform that enables users across the developing world to access content at a much lower cost than building physical libraries. We built our library on 3 principles. The first, cultural relevance. We source all of our content from local and international publishers and have it vetted by an expert local advisory board. The second, accessibility. Our platform is designed specifically for low bandwidth environments. It's designed to work offline and to be accessible on any device that our users have access to, be it a low-cost mobile phone or tablet. And the third, partnership. The way we work is to partner with existing schools, governments, and nonprofit organizations who drive implementation of the library as a tool in their existing educational programs. And we partner with telecommunications companies to zero-rate the library so there's no cost for download. Our platform is easily searchable and provides us data on what our users are reading and how often, so that we can improve the library and begin to assess our impact on things like literacy rates and broader educational outcomes. In 3 years, we've built a library in Haiti, in Democratic Republic of Congo, and in Rwanda. Our library in Haiti currently houses the largest collection of Haitian Creole materials in the world. We will be launching in Cambodia this November and on track to reach 5 million users by the end of 2017. What drives me is certainly the opportunity for scale here. But more importantly, it's the opportunity to see the faces of these children when they have access to books in their own language for the first time, when they're seeing pictures of children that they recognize. I'm lucky enough to work with an amazing team and amazing partners, and I'd like to invite you on this journey with us. So please vote for us, and please contact me to partner with us. Thank you.
Also in the field of education, we have Jane from the Reset Foundation.
I want to tell you about one of my students, Summer. I was teaching life skills in a county jail, and Summer was in my class. And at the same time, it just so happened that her mother was also in jail in my same class at the same time. One day, Summer walks in with this big smile across her face and shows me this little picture of a girl that she had just given birth to 2 weeks earlier while she was in jail. It was an incredibly poignant moment for me. I remember standing there with the photo. Summer is 2 feet away, her mother incarcerated, and her grandmother 10 feet behind her. 3 generations of the same family in jail at the same time. Now, unfortunately, Summer's story is all too common in the US. We are trapping entire generations in a cycle of poverty, incarceration, and joblessness. We're at a point now where young people in some communities are actually growing up expecting to spend time in prison. 1 in 3 black men in this country will spend time behind bars. And unfortunately, 2/3 of those that leave the system will be right back in there within a few years. This is extremely costly, as you know. Here in California, it costs $62,000 to send somebody to prison for 1 year, which is the same as what it could be to send them to Exeter, our nation's leading boarding school. Now, unfortunately, our current approaches have mostly just tinkered around the edges. We haven't seen recidivism budge in the past 30 to 40 years across the country, and most of our efforts have been pretty small. What we're trying to do at the Reset Foundation is try something dramatically different, a completely different approach. And the idea is really simple. Instead of sending somebody to prison, they come to a Reset campus, where the whole environment is focused on preparing people to succeed. The idea is actually really similar to what's used in the charter school world. So we get funding from the government, every student that we take, and in exchange, we promise to be held accountable to certain outcomes. And we're expecting a 7-to-1 return on investment. We are essentially just repurposing existing government dollars. We're not adding more money to the system. And what's great about that is you essentially need philanthropy for the beginning, the startup phase, and to scale, but not for the ongoing operating costs. Some of our goals are listed here. As I mentioned, we're expecting a 7-to-1 ROI and are really excited to be able to show the rest of the country that a different approach is very possible. We just launched our pilot program this past academic year in San Francisco, working closely with 10 young men who were involved in the justice system. We're able to get jobs for all of them and saw average reading scores increase up to 4 years in some cases, over 8 months, and on average 2 years. We're really excited to be launching our full model in the East Bay in a couple months and would love your support to help us get there. We are, in addition to your voting for Gratitude Award finalists, which we're very appreciative to be a part of, we're also part of the Google Impact Challenge, and we'd love your vote for that. And really would appreciate any form of support as we get this off the ground to show to the rest of the country that another approach to this issue is both feasible and effective. Thank you very much.
Also talking about education with a health education focus is Megan from Zana, Africa.
I have props. Great. As a Harvard grad living in Kenya for 14 years, I've been really privileged to help scores of young, talented, but disadvantaged youth like Rosa here to graduate from universities and break the cycle of poverty for their families. I started Zana Africa to do this at scale. And at SOCAP, we know that poverty is a lack of systemic opportunity that prevents this from happening. Zana changes that system by solving 2 clear interrelated problems. In East Africa alone, 4 in 5 women and girls lack access to sanitary pads and related health education. This translates into 1 billion girls and women worldwide.
With these products, girls do win back 75% of lost learning days. I'm sorry, I don't know why that's not showing. They safely navigate adolescence and they realize the full benefits of the girl effect. Our foundation, need to go back there. Our foundation helped the Kenyan government to write pads into budgets just like pencils for the last 5 years, but it's not enough. I launched Zana Africa Group in 2013 as a business to change this $13 billion pad industry and system in 2 fundamental ways. First, we manufacture sanitary pads in a lean process locally to dramatically expand that access in different package sizes. Our 2-pack saves women 80% in daily out-of-pocket expenses, and for women who live day to day, this is a revolution. And for the price of 3 packs on the supermarket shelves, we can offer a school kit with 4 packets, plus free underwear, plus rights-based health education. This is a winning value proposition for all stakeholders and aligns family savings for schools. Our intellectual property through our team of material scientists will save a further 15% in reclaimed local materials. Second, we see fast-moving consumer goods as a fast-moving educational good. Our products promote different ways girls can access information that they ask for in ways that they want. This puts girls in the driver's seat of their own destinies and lets us evaluate impact at scale. For instance, this is a page in our health comics, which have proven knowledge retention on diverse topics. Girls adore them, and it changes lives. Girls have said their product makes them proud to be girls and makes them equal to boys in the classroom. Over 90% of girls we've surveyed have better menstrual management, are more focused in the classroom, have more self-respect, feel better to say no to negative peer pressure, and that's because of our products. It works. We're building a brand to celebrate sisterhood. Every product purchased next year in the Kenyan retail market will give back to educating girls about her body and her rights. Last month, we tested this in a back-to-school promotion and increased sales 2,000%. Since 2013, we've served 25,000 girls and 10,000 women and are bringing together the right smart partners to reach 1 million by 2020, 100,000 next year. If we won the Gratitude Awards, we would leverage our mentorship for brand and marketing support to best prepare us for a retail launch next year and our subsequent scale to build a regional replicable model. Menstrual management is not just a smart solution. It must be recognized as a basic human right. We must break our own shame about talking about it, and with half of Africa's population under 15, we must sustainably solve this problem, and it's within our reach to help girls step boldly into the promise of their future. Thank you.
Thank you. We now move into the category of environmental sustainability. This next presenter sent a video. He was unable, unfortunately, to attend this afternoon, but we have a video presentation from him. Can we run the video presentation from Carbon Analytics, please? Is it possible to run the video?
Hello, SOCAP. I'm Michael, CEO of Carbon Analytics. I'm sorry I can't be with you today, but look forward to seeing you the rest of the week. Carbon Analytics is a revenue-generating data business based in London that is accelerating the shift to the green economy. A sustainable planet requires global action, yet despite all our progress, far less than 1% of businesses worldwide have even basic information about the environmental and social impact they have. This is because present solutions rely to an amazing extent on expert consulting or internal skill development. Businesses already spend $12 billion a year on this, and this is simply not scalable to meet the ambitions of governments, consumers, and businesses. Our team, formed at Oxford, brings together expertise in sustainability, carbon reporting, accounting, and information technology to address this problem. Environmental and social impact data needs to be far more automatic and integrated to be truly accessible to businesses. So we built technology that layers impact directly on top of financial data. We do this with an ever-improving model of the global economy, public data sets, and information released by companies. We layer on top of every financial transaction a business makes a carbon and water footprint, and soon other footprints. Taken in aggregate, these can produce a footprint for an entire company, for a division, for a product line. We then built a platform that links with Xero and soon other cloud accounting systems. With a few clicks, companies link their accounts and see their impact. Detailed carbon and water footprints, daily tracking, certifications, RFP inserts are all just a few more clicks away. Best of all, for small businesses, it's free. Our model as a business is a freemium service for SMB users, charging for value-add features over time. Additionally, we will continue consulting with enterprises, and as our data set of global impact flows grows robust, provide data insights. We have over 200 SMBs already using the platform, 27,000 in revenue to date this year, and another 75,000 under contract. We have also been recognized with a host of awards and prizes for our work so far, identifying this as an important space. And this is just the beginning. With our technology, anything that can be done with finance can soon be done with impact. Want to add a price of carbon in your organization? Easy. Want to legislate that every business must know their carbon footprint? At a few clicks and the price of free to a business, this isn't so crazy. And that's our real mission. We want to make environmental and social impact count in every transaction by making it so dead easy any business would be foolish not to. We'd love to talk to you about partnering to take our technology to new places, investing, we have a round open in the UK right now, and any other way you think we can work together to change the world. Thank you very much. I'm Michael Thornton. This is Carbon Analytics. Look forward to talking to you all soon.
The next presenter in the field of environmental sustainability is Antonio from CASA.
Hi, my name is Antonio. I'm founder of CASA, a company in Guatemala that designs and builds self-sufficient social housing. All our homes provide our customers with clean water, clean energy, and sanitation at an affordable price. We want to transform the way social housing is built. We believe that the lack of adequate social housing is one of humanity's main problems. Nearly 3 billion people worldwide lack an access to an adequate dwelling. That includes those that live in temporary homes made of insecure materials, or people that lack electricity or running water, and people that still rely on biomass for cooking or lack sanitation. In Latin America, this number is 60 million humans, and in my country of Guatemala, the housing deficit affects nearly 8 million people. That's more than half of the population. So all these people live in perpetually insecure and insalubrious conditions that not only hinder sustainable human development, they also cause great environmental damage. I'm sorry about the formatting. We set up CASA as the first company in Central America to focus specifically on sustainable social housing. We build and design homes that provide 100% clean energy, clean water, and sanitation for the same price as traditional masonry construction. Through ecological building materials and appropriate technologies, our houses are not only able to provide vital services, they also protect the environment. In our pilot year of 2014, we built Guatemala's first intelligent social house, which, as you can see, is built entirely out of bamboo with an exterior wall cement plastering. It features rainwater catchment, water storage in an underground cistern, water filter for consumption, gray water separation that gets diverted and recycled into a family garden, solar panels for electricity, an efficient smokeless stove, and full-service sanitation with black water treatment. The first Mayan family that you see there that bought the house has been living in it for over 18 months, and they couldn't be any happier. In 2015, we've so far built the second and third houses, demonstrating successfully the proof of concept. Very importantly, it's price parity with standard construction. Because of it, we've received ample media coverage locally and internationally, and we've also recently won the Ideas 5 competition sponsored by the Inter-American Development Bank. Looking ahead, 2016 and 2017, we plan to build 120 houses in Guatemala and expand to Central America, which will transform the lives of over 700 people and create 300 direct jobs at the BOP, in the process generating more than $2 million of revenue. Over the next 5 years, we aim to build 2,000 houses. In long term, we plan to build at least 50,000 houses, helping set a new standard in social housing development that simultaneously enhances human wellness, saves money, and protects the environment. So please help us transform this enormous and crucial market and vote for us for a gratitude award. Thanks.
Our final presenters in the field of sustainability is the company Waste Ventures, and we have Parag and Rob.
Good afternoon, SOCAPers. I'm Parag. This is my colleague Rob. We're part of Waste Ventures India, a company that is involved in waste, environmentally processing waste, and improving waste picker and informal sector livelihoods in the process. We are a team of reformed management consultants, now wannabe garbage men, led by board and advisor group of luminaries within the water and sanitation sector and the development sector. So let me present to you the problem. The problem is urban India produces a mound of garbage that every week weighs twice as much as the Empire State Building. The only processing that goes on, roughly 5%, is done by waste pickers. Those who earn less than $1 or $2 a day, picking through plastic and scrap within garbage heaps to make a living. But at Waste Ventures India, we do have a solution for this.
A major contributor to this lack of processing is missed opportunities. Those who generate the waste aren't aware of the opportunities to process the waste and those parties that can do so. Waste Ventures India provides those connections, reducing waste that goes to the landfill and putting money into the pockets of waste pickers. We do this across a variety of waste types with a partner network ranging from local processors to 40 billion FMCG companies to packaging companies such as Tetra Pak. On Tetra Pak, for example, we take the Tetra Pak from waste pickers, aggregate that from a network that's around 1,000 waste pickers across Hyderabad, purchase at 5 rupees per kg, and sell to 11 rupees per kg to a green recycler through a partnership with Tetra Pak and the recycler. This takes waste out of the landfill, puts money into the pockets of waste pickers, increasing income by 10 to 20%, and generates revenue for Waste Ventures India. In the next 5 years, we will be the Amazon of waste management, just with a less brutal work culture. We will generate 9 million in revenue, avert over 30,000 tons of waste per year from dump sites, and reach at least 400,000 individuals through our interventions. Please vote for us and join us in creating the future of waste management in India. Thank you.
Thanks.
Just wanted to thank everyone and thank the finalists for presenting and coming out here from around the world. And please take some time, look for the links to vote for your favorite People's Choice Award. It'll also be on the SOCAP website and on the blog there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's the reason we do SOCAP. Amazing stories like that. It's my joy to get to introduce to you our next speaker, the Reverend Becca Stevens. Becca, like I, is an Episcopal priest, and I do this work that I do in two worlds, both in the church and in the SOCAP world. And when I'm with you guys and I talk about impact investing and social entrepreneurship, people know exactly what I'm talking about. Sometimes in the church world, they ask me what I do, and I say, well, I produce events about social entrepreneurship and impact investing. And they say, what's that? And I say, have you ever heard of Becca Stevens? And they all know who Becca is, and they've heard of Magdalene and Thistle Farms and the work she does there. And it makes my job of telling folks what I do so much easier. So a privilege for me. I was going to tell you a little bit about her, and she said, oh, I'm saying all about that myself. So it's a privilege to me to bring Becca to the stage, and it's also a privilege for us that we decided this year in our SOCAP market, we have products from entrepreneurs who are a part of our scholarship program, but most of the marketplace this year is made up of products from Thistle Farms. So you'll want to go to the marketplace and look that over, smell some of those great essential oils, and make some purchases to help with this enterprise. But before I say anything else, I'm going to bring Becca Stevens to the stage. Becca.
Thank you very much for doing this. We are so grateful to be here. It is a joy. We pulled up about an hour ago, maybe 2.5 hours ago now. Franny Kiznick, a friend of ours in San Francisco and one of the great leaders on the West Coast for us, came and picked us up. We pull in, and two of the women who are survivor leaders looked for the first time at the ocean. And it's because of your invitation, because of Rosalie and so many people that invited us to come be a part of it, that our joy is to continue to integrate women back into a community that long ago abandoned them to the inside of prison walls and the underside of bridges and the short side of justice and the back side of anger. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our story, but what I really want to say to you is just welcome fellow entrepreneurs, however you made it into this world. I did not go to divinity school to learn how to start a business. And what I have found is that the gift of going to divinity school before you start making products and selling them around the globe is that you learn quickly that this work, and at least in the world of the entrepreneur world, where the women are the workforce, are the mission, that it is a non-competitive sport, that we are doing this and we need each other to do the work. Just as the women that I have served for more than 20 years now didn't end up on the streets by themselves, and they don't come off the streets by themselves. It takes that same community to welcome them home. It's true for this world of entrepreneurship. I need y'all, and y'all need us. And together, we can create great economic streams, make economic leverage, make our voices heard, and be about the work. So for us, what happened at Thistle Farms was we started with housing. It's a housing-first model for women who are survivors of trafficking, addiction, and prostitution. We opened a house like 20 years ago almost now. And 5 women came in, and the statistics have been the same as we've reached across the globe in over a 20-year span, that the women first that we serve are first rate between the ages of 7 and 11. They hit the streets between the ages of 14 and 16 years old. And we started off to talk about what love looks like and how love heals, and just to create a sanctuary for 2 years, no cost, no authority, to not be associated with a religious group, a judicial system, a treatment center, but just to be a community together and to be a circle of women who were looking for healing. So we did that for about 4 years, and we realized that the women were doing amazing work statistically for us. Women who come into the 2-year program, 80% of those women graduate 2 years later. So this is not a clapping crowd. Is that? Do y'all know how amazing that is? Are y'all listening? What I just told you was women who have criminal histories of trafficking, prostitution, and addiction, who have been left on the streets forever, who on average have about 100 arrests on their record. 2 years later, they come into a community of women and graduate. And they were doing great work, making restitution with the courts, with their families, doing beautiful stuff, and they were still dirt poor. In this country, I have not met a woman coming off the streets into our doors from many, many states who has not been raped, nor have I met a woman who has a penny to her name. So that's why we started a business. Okay, I'll do this when I need it. I'm just teasing. I'm really not that. needy most of the time. So we started making healing products for the body. And we grew the company, we started getting some national attention, and what happened with that is people started calling us from all over the globe. But what we knew we wanted to be was to continue that circle of healing, of how it looks. So what we have done every day of our lives as a community for almost now, since Thistle Farm started, is we start our morning in a circle, and we all sit around and we light a candle. That was our very first product. Partly because you know that when you start a business, you need to make something you can't mess up. And candles, it has like one ingredient. It's just a soy wax, and then you can put fragrance, for us, essential oils into it. And it has a huge, long shelf life, so we didn't know how much we were going to sell, so we figured that was a great way to start it. So every day we light a candle in the circle. And we say we light this candle for the woman who is still on the streets. We light this candle for the woman who is trying to make her way home. We light this candle for all the women who have endured sexual violence, for the babies born into addiction without a choice. We've made thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of candles. And that circle has grown and grown. And the biggest gift that I've learned in all of this is that people want to hope with you. That you, as an entrepreneur, you can live into your best ideals and not compromise. I have learned that love is actually good business. It has been the greatest joy. So what happened with the circle is the circle became also a means of giving back to the community and becoming an economic powerhouse. Annually, we give back to the city. And remember, we take no federal funding, no state funding. Everything is generated by the products. We are growing this year at about a 60% rate. We've sold about 1.6 million this year. We are a growing company. We have beautiful friends. And now we are giving back to the company. And if there is a statistic that I'm the most proud of, is that in the last fiscal year, we were able to put back into the pockets, in paychecks, more than $500,000 to women who are coming through the program. That is beautiful. And you know what that translates? What that translates into is that women get their children back. Women are driving cars and they're buying houses and they're making court restitution and they are coming back into the community with good credit and doing all kinds of work, and it's an economic issue. It is one of the most powerful ways I have heard love being preached. Everybody has started asking over the last 10 years, and I promise you no one asked me this before about 10 years ago. Are you scalable and sustainable? Over and over. Every funder, every grant. And I was like, no one asked me that before I had a social enterprise. When I was just out begging money, no one asked me if I was sustainable. It's like, yeah, I can beg all the money I want. But the beautiful thing about this work and what I've been so humbled about is that I can answer yes to those questions now without hesitation. I can answer it because we have now got global partnerships. We have 22 global partnerships with women who are survivors. This is a global issue. This is not a women's issue. This is a human rights issue. This is about many, many women who endure the universal issues of sexual assault on their individual bodies, and they need community. Beyond just work, they need the circle. We need to create another million lights. We need to be together in this work. And what we've created is a shared partnership. And it came out of this region with a grant from Isabel Allende and Franny's direction. And what we've been able to do is provide a means of reducing the number of links in the market chain so that the value of the producer is increased, that all the not-for-profits that we are working with are committed to living in sustainable wages and community. The best example I can give of that is our most recent partner, the Moringa Madres, a group of 5 women in Ajají, Mexico, who were going to a feeding program. All the women who had endured the vulnerability that poverty offers in the form of violence. Somebody saw the women coming over and over daily to get food, and they said, I've heard about a new shared trade partnership. Maybe we could do something together. The women talked about moringa. Have y'all heard about moringa? You heard the NPR thing like 3 days ago about moringa is the new superfood. We're about a year ahead of that. And they, because they knew they had a place to ship, a place to market, a place to distribute, and they were going to receive everything without a distribution cost, we were able to get a grant of about $5,000, and the 5 women got enough land to plant 70 trees. They started shipping the moringa because we already had the ability to go to all the Whole Food stores. Whole Food went crazy for moringa, and they said, not only are you going to put it in teas, we're going to make bath salts, call it a mussel soak. The women had to go back, plant 80 more trees within the first year. Now they are just getting on a roll. They have received their paychecks, they're getting housing, they're getting their children back. And I'm telling you, you rape the women, you kill the village, you heal the women, you heal the village. And that's what this work is about. So we need each other. We want to be able to love each other and support each other in this great work. It is hard. It is hard to do these daily tasks over and over and over again. I have been doing it for quite a while. And honestly, not every day am I really, really excited about going to sit in the circle again. But I can tell you that every day of my life, when I leave that circle, I'm completely inspired again to do this work of loving the whole world a person at a time. Come visit us at the booth. Talk to us. There's the whole team. There's Javita, Lori, Abby, and Franny. And we are here for the whole week, and we love y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Becca. SOCAP really is the meeting of our minds and our hearts. Another way we're doing that this year is by having my good friend Chuck Cannon come and have some music for us. If those of you who were in the How to Get the Most Out of SOCAP, if y'all could all raise your hands. They've already met Chuck, and they can tell you how much fun it is to have him with us. He's going to come out and kind of respond to Becca with a song.
Hey, guys. I don't know if you could see from where you are what Becca's T-shirt said. It says, "Love heals." Oh, oh, it all comes down to love. Oh, oh, it all comes down to love. Oh, talking heads talking to us on the television, silver screen preachers and politicians say they got the answer. First they gotta squeeze us, send a little money, there's a tax on Jesus. Fix it with a prayer, fix it with a dollar. Anybody out there ever wanna holler? Oh, it all comes down to love. Oh, oh, it all comes down to love. Oh, Self-help gurus got a bestseller. Astrologists telling us to take it interstellar. 1-900 look into the crystal. The NRA says you better buy a pistol. They made a little pill, it might cause cancer. Just a cheap thrill when you're looking for the answer. Oh, it all comes down to love. Oh, yes it does. Oh, it all comes down to love. Oh, suits on Wall Street and make another million. Dealer on the back street talking to your children. You cry for help, nobody listens. You lie awake at night and you wonder what's missing. Who can put an end to all the confusion? Look into your heart, there's one solution. Whoa, whoa, it all comes down to love. Oh, yes it does. Oh, it all comes down to love. Oh, it all comes down to love.
You've just had the gratitude entrepreneurs who are just starting out. Our next session is actually some of the serial entrepreneurs who've already succeeded and they're on to their second act. So we have coming out will be Matt Flannery, who started Kiva and now has got a profitable 6-month-old virtual bank, mobile bank in Kenya. We've got Xavier Helgeson, who started Better World Books, now at $70 million, $5 million EBITDA, and Aloysius Attah from Ghana. Let's go ahead and start it, and then Becca Stevens will come out. And all these folks are, for the folks who are the new entrepreneurs, if you're the Gratitude Fellows and you're out here, raise your hands. Okay, I guess they're still backstage. So are there scholarship entrepreneurs here too? Okay, great, there's some of those. So at SOCAP, we're about a lot of startups, but we also want to say you can get there. These are folks who have proven they can get there. Aloysius was here about 3 years ago as a scholarship entrepreneur, just starting out about $30,000 revenue in Ghana, mobile tech for Ghanaian farmers in their own indigenous languages, not text. Now he's at about 6 times that and doing contracts with major cacao companies. Matt created Kiva, which is about $150 million annual a year.
Annually, yeah.
Yeah, annual. And now he's got branch.co, this amazing virtual bank based on mobile payments in Kenya. Becca, and she's got a priest who's built a sustainable business now. And then Xavier, who I've known for a long time, we invested in his first business, Better World Books, and now he's on to Off-Grid, which has gotten huge. I mean, he's already announced he's raised $34 million to do off-grid solar, and he's growing in new announcements soon. So there's 2 questions I want to pose to him. We have about 20 minutes. And the first is, you guys are where the gratitude entrepreneurs want to be. You've already up and you've succeeded. 2 of you are serial entrepreneurs. You're on to your second venture after having one successful venture. Aloysius has gone from, 30,000 to, well, actually about 10x where we actually met 4 or 5 years ago. And he and I have been working together about 4 or 5 years. So there's one question. Tell me about a time, pretty briefly, when you almost thought that it wasn't going to work and you would, the sensible thing would be to quit, when you hit a wall and it just didn't seem like it was going to work. Tell me that first. Xavier, why don't you start?
Sure, there's been maybe surprisingly few of those, which means that I'm crazy, because there are lots of times when I should have thought that. But I do remember one very specifically, which was after I'd moved to Africa, moved to Tanzania to start Off-Grid. And we had raised a bit of seed money, but we certainly didn't have much. And we we went there, and we originally weren't sure whether our original business plan was not to do home-scale solar systems immediately. It was to do a bit bigger kind of microgrid things. And we went out and we talked to some partners, and we got feasibility, we got the perfect community, and then we ran the numbers on it. And we're just like, wow, this doesn't make any sense. And so here we were, having made the move, raised the money, and I just remember sitting in my office one day and thinking, oh God, what do we do? What do we do? We're well into this, and it's all going to go sideways, and I'm going to have to just pack up and go home, and I'm not going to have a job, and maybe a big better world to take me back, doing something useful. And I think that was actually when the kind of best creative energy or inspiration struck in the company. And we just said, let's build an energy hub. And we weren't even sure exactly what this place would do, but it'd be a little retail shop where we could try out all of our ideas. And it was from this hub that we basically offered almost the same service that we offer today to tens of thousands of households, and is the fastest growing service in Africa. It was just from literally this one retail shop right outside our office up a road in Arusha, Tanzania.
Yeah. Becca, how about a time when it didn't seem like, I'm a priest. How the heck did I wander into this? What was I thinking?
Well, I remember I was walking around Trinity College. I was just doing a talk up there, and NPR, that was our first national story. So this is like 2010-ish, 2011. They came down to do a story on the women and who are doing great work, and the company was starting to grow. And they said, we love it so much, we're going to do 4 stories, not 1 story. And as a social entrepreneur, that's a big deal, is to have 4 national stories versus 1. And they wanted to interview a woman that was struggling. They did. And the woman, about a week before the whole thing was supposed to air, was arrested in a horrible, horrible incident on the streets. And I got really, really scared, and I called the NPR board, and I said, can you just pull the whole thing? Because if people hear this, they're going to hate us, and all their preconceived notions about these issues are too hard, or you don't know what you're doing, or women don't change. All of those things were in my head. And NPR said, in fact, that not only were they going to air the show, they were going to end it with it. And so I figured that was probably going to be the end of what we were about. And I listened to the story, and sure enough, they told the whole thing. And I was walking around that campus, and I thought, well, that was a beautiful journey. It's over. And it was the first day we ever had to work overtime, and we got more calls than we had ever gotten. And I realized that all those voices of judgment and fear were inside my head. And I was the most judgmental, and that people actually will cry with you, even in your failures. And you don't have to hide those or be ashamed of them, but you can actually use those to learn lessons about what it means to be together and to try to do this work.
Oh, thank you. That's really strong. Matt, tell us about a time. Hit a wall.
Okay, well, the story of Kiva was I was out in Africa on a long trip with 2 of my co-founders, and basically I was filming a small documentary for a local nonprofit that I was volunteering for, and I was a computer programmer by day, and I had taken some time off to do that trip. And I was talking to small business people, like a goat herder or a restaurant owner, and I got really interested in their business. And as a guy that likes to start businesses and do small things, be part of people's entrepreneurial stories, I thought it would be fun to lend to these people and really interesting. And then I didn't have much money, and so I thought we could raise the money from my family and friends on the internet. And so that was the whole beginning of this, long journey that was 10 years of my life. So I remember that seed, that pure seed of inspiration and excitement and joy about getting involved in something and how fun that was. But then I sort of came back to reality, and we were back out here in San Francisco. I had a day job, and I spent some nights and weekends, thinking, okay, when you start a business, you got to go talk to the right people. You got to get advisors, then you've got to get investors, and you got to write a business plan. So I wrote a 40-page business plan. And I talked to all these people, like, okay, let's create a website where you can lend to, at this point, East African entrepreneurs. And it seemed like it would work, like it was very feasible when I was out there close to the work, but as I got further and further away from that, the idea can sort of fade, and you find yourself in a conference room at a lawyer's office, or in a venture capital's office, or a foundation's office, and people have a lot of questions, and the idea goes from something that's big and pure to something that's small and fading and dimmer in your mind, and then everyone's critical comment really affects you, and so you get really negative. Like people said, these poor people will never pay back the loans, essentially. Like that's not scalable, it's not a commercial idea. It's more like a donation. A lot of lawyers said it was illegal, like Homeland Security is gonna shut you down, come to your house or whatever. And so a lot of these like 1,000 cuts, they just mount. They mount in your mind. And I really think when you start a business, like the first step is really the hardest. So my first step took a year to make one small first step, but then one night I just posted the website and just raised money for one person in Africa, and it worked. And so after that first step, everything's been a lot easier. So us entrepreneurs, we're up here, we say, oh, just get started, follow your dream, take that first step. But the first step really is the hardest. It took me a year to take a first step, but ever since I took the first step, it's been a lot easier since then. Every other step, whether it's fighting fraud or fundraising or scaling a website, those are easy compared to the very first step. So I just, the hardest parts are always the first step and making something that seems real in your mind real to other people. And so to do that, you just have to fake it till you make it, get started, and push through those worries.
That's great. Al, we've known each other about 5 years now, and you just won the Village Capital East Africa Challenge. You got a growing business, but when was the time when you thought, this is wrong, I need to go back and just work in tech somewhere?
Thanks, Kevin. So when we started Farmerline, basically our goal was to connect small-scale farmers across Africa to sources of information, and we want to give them the power to access that information in their local languages. So when we started the company, we were, my co-founder and I were basically just programmers. We spent all the time building the technology for 6 months. We read a lot of reports, and we built the technology on those reports. So the first time we launched the technology and the first time we spoke to our users was in a workshop where we invited all the farmers and also the government extension officers to try the technology. We're very excited. We thought that once the technology is built, all that we needed was to invest a lot of money into marketing to just push it and get a lot more farmers to use it. But then we rushed into a very big wall, which was basically telling us that this SMS application that we've built for farmers is not going to work. One, because it's very expensive to communicate information to farmers, and two, most farmers cannot read and write. So if you want to give them a timely and accurate information in SMS, they might not be able to read it and apply it on the farm. It was it was a very big blow to us as young people who just finished college and trying to build something that will work and help farmers. After spending 6 solid months to build a technology, we were crushed by then. But one single lesson that we learned was that anytime somebody is saying no to you, there's usually a reason why they are saying no to you. And what we did, it took us a long time to get there, but then we have to go back and ask why they were saying no to us, and that was a vital lesson in our growth as a company. And we went back to the farmers and then the extension officers. We asked them, what's the best way for us to reach you? What's the best way for us to connect you to the information that you need to produce and sell more food? And they said that they wanted the information in the language that they understand, and they want it from somebody that they know and trust. So basically, what we resorted to was to record the voice, to record the messages in the local languages, and it's usually from the government extension officer who usually works with these farmers. So the farmers are able to access the information in their local languages, but more importantly, they hear it from somebody that they know and trust. And moving on, after overcoming the technology barrier, another barrier that we faced was pricing. How do we price this technology to make it very competitive for small-scale farmers, small, poor farmers to access it, and for us to also remain in business? So we apply this like in the same lesson that we learned. When somebody says no to you, why are they saying no? Find out why they are saying no and try to do something that they'll say yes to. And that's what helped us to even overcome the pricing issue that we face in packaging a very small competitive product for small-scale farmers to access in their local languages across Africa.
Yeah. And so quickly, the second question is, what's the smartest thing you've done? And tell it like you're telling it to your little brother or sister, and they're looking at you adoringly. And the real thing that imagine you're a hero to somebody, and what's the smartest thing you've done that helped your business thrive?
I guess the smartest thing that we've done as founders of a company is just to surround ourselves with people who are really smarter than us and people who are much more experienced. Because that's easy. It took people so many years to acquire that experience, and you could basically learn from it by just listening to them for some few minutes. And that's what we did. We got a lot of people who are much more older. We have about 16 people working for us, and I'm one of the youngest people in the company, and most of them are really, really experienced. And we sold the vision of the company and what we wanted to do, and they bought into the vision very early, so they were willing to work for us for a very small pay. So that's what we did. That helped us. Getting people that are very smart to work in the company, but more importantly, to getting a network of global mentors to help you, to access resources that you couldn't have reached by yourself.
Yeah. Matt, what's the smartest thing you've done?
I would say in business, I've followed my heart. That sounds like a cliche, but I've had a lot of business ideas. I have too many. A lot of them are stupid. And I went through a big period of reflection when I started Kiva and went through that year's worth of trying. And I stuck with it because I felt a deep sense of a calling for somewhere from deep inside, a deep sense of intuition about it. And that was the right decision. It gets you through years and years of hard work because you fundamentally believe in something bigger than yourself and from a deep place in your heart. And I went through a similar period of reflection the last year. I left my job at Kiva as CEO and was out in the wild, traveled around the world. I went to Nairobi and just had a really serious, deep sense that it was right for me to continue the work that I'd started. And even though I felt like it was going to be really hard again, and I was about to get into something really intense and really difficult, I just realized that I love partnering with entrepreneurs. I love empowering people. I love being part of their businesses and part of their stories. And that passion would get me through all the hard things that I'm about to face. And it continues to work that way.
Yeah. Becca.
I would agree. It's, hiring smart people, following your heart, and I would say grow at your own pace, whatever that is. I mean, sometimes that feels really fast to me. Sometimes it feels slow, but it is the right amount of time from whatever the inspiration is to the action. That is the right amount of time that you needed to take to do that. And just as we were getting ready to come up here, there's a photographer that's taking pictures of our first regional sales team. One of the ways we're doing all the expansion is that we have 22 sister communities around the country, and we're going to have sales teams of survivor leaders around this country. And I got the very first pictures. It's taken us forever to get it going, and it's happening right now, and I'm missing it. And I think that is so good to know when to hang on and when to let go, and it's the right time and to trust it.
Yeah. So, Xavier, we've worked together about 6 years or so now with Better World.
I think it's been longer than that. Kind of.
Is it longer than that? It's it's close to seven or 8 years. Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah. And Xavier's the smartest person I've met in business. Every once in a while, he just sort of does this way of figuring out a system.
With him.
You've met so many people.
I know, but I've worked with him, and
one of the smartest.
Well, I've bamboozled Kevin successfully.
He has multiple times. I've negotiated with him and lost it, over the years. So, what's the absolute smartest thing you ever came up with?
Wow,
in business?
That's
Kevin Jones. You met Kevin Jones.
I did. I met Kevin Jones. I hitched my
right.
train to him, and it's been all good since then. It's hard to. I just think my co-panelists hit the nail on the head. I mean, I think people. Both times I started a company, I started with 2 other people, and I get way too much credit, and they get. Frankly, there's no chance that either of those companies would have amounted to anything without the people that I started the company with. And I started the company with people with character, first and foremost, and specific skills or anything else second. And character is actually very, very scalable, right? It's a
Character's very scalable. It's a great line.
Yeah, and so
tweet that. Yeah.
And so I think the other smart thing, which I've done about 70% of the time, is focus. So, so it seems like every time, right? It seems like every time you take your eye off the ball, and you're like, oh, well, what I'm doing now is working kind of good, but there's this thing that could work really well that's kind of off to this side, and you stop focusing and obsessing on the thing that you're doing every day and making it better, you start to lose the realization of possibility. As you stop losing the vision that there is actually possibility to make what you do today far, far better and larger and meet all your goals. And so we have a real, very, very dogmatic focus at Off Grid to just be good at one thing, which is basically lighting people's homes and serving the mass market in Africa with a solution that they can afford that works really well. And so there's lots of opportunities to try to do different things, and we always kind of rein back in and focus on the core.
You know, it's interesting. I asked this question, and there was a personal thing around what they've done wrong and that moment. And I asked a hero kind of question, and everybody said, no, it's somebody around you. It's the people I hired. It's who I was with. It was a team answer to a hero question. I was wondering how that would work. I'm pleased with how it didn't work the way I set it up and the way you guys answered. So thank you. I want to thank my panel for these are folks who have done it, and some of them are doing it twice. Yay to us. This stuff does work.
So thank you all for being here. We just looked into Pathable, and there are now 2,700 people participating in the Pathable community. So join up and make those connections that you wanted to make at SOCAP. But right now, go outside, enjoy the beautiful day, 12 food trucks, and a beer truck. It's out there waiting for you.